Welcome to Simple Italian Cooking, and today's video I'm going to be walking you through how to make chicken breasts rolled with spinach and Romano cheese. So let's get started. Ingredients for this recipe could not be simpler. We've got 2 large chicken breasts that we're going to be slicing up later, 4 cups of fresh spinach. If you're using frozen spinach, I talk about that later, so no worries there. You've got your extra virgin olive oil, some salt and pepper, as well as a cup of pasta sauce, just using meatless pasta sauce. And then we've got a cup of Romano cheese. You can also use Parmesan if that's what you've got, totally cool there. And also 2 nice cloves of garlic. First thing I do is heat up some olive oil in a preheated pan, about a tablespoon or 2, and then I add in the garlic, which I've crushed, minced, and I let that sizzle at a low heat. I want to stir that garlic around with that olive oil. That flavors the olive oil. So you're going to let that do its thing for about 2 minutes until it's fragrant, and then add in your spinach. Now I did talk about if you're using fresh spinach versus frozen. So the goal here is to cook it down until the moisture is out. If you're using frozen spinach, thaw it in the microwave, squeeze out as much liquid as possible, and then cook it down just as if you're using the fresh spinach like I am. It's really going to cook down a lot. You really want to get that extra liquid out of there. It's going to take about 5 minutes. Once that is done, go ahead and remove the pan from the stove because we want that spinach to cool down while we work on everything else. Okay, so now let's tackle the chicken breast. So my chicken breast was very thin on one side and very thick on the other, and we want it to be about 1/4 inch thick. So I actually cut mine in half, and that is totally fine if you do that because we're going to be pounding it out anyway. So I go ahead and slice it, and you can see my chicken breast is fully thawed. I wish it hadn't been fully thawed because it's easier to slice when it's still a little bit frozen, just a little bit. But either way, do your best. You want it to be about 1/4 inch. Next, I like to put my chicken in a Ziploc bag. You don't have to use a Ziploc bag, but I do recommend at least covering it with some sort of plastic wrap or something because we're going to pound it. Ideally, use a meat mallet. I don't know why I still don't have one after all these years. I always just use a rolling pin, and you just want to break up those fibers. You don't want to get this paper thin. We're not doing cutlets here, but again, still keeping it to about that 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit less, and we just want to break up those fibers to tenderize it. Once that's done, go ahead and lay out each one, and you can see how much larger they got just by pounding it out. So this is a good size. This is about what we're going to be looking for. So I lay it out on my cutting board. And then what I do is I do the cracked black pepper and the salt. I'm using Himalayan salt for this recipe. And I do it on both sides of the chicken breasts. So just a dash each. We're not going to overdo it, but it does help add some extra flavor. Then we're going to go ahead and take that cooled spinach, which is now flavored with the olive oil and garlic, delicious, and just put it in the center of the chicken breast. And I just divide it up evenly. I'm not like super precise. And then you're going to add about a tablespoon or more, however much you want, of the Romano cheese. I'm just using regular grated cheese. You can use Parmesan if that's what you have, and if you want it to be extra cheesy, throw in some mozzarella. You could do a mix of all 3 if you want. I mean, heck, you can even add in some ricotta if you have some on hand. So, but I like Romano. I'm a total fan of Romano. So next we're going to go ahead, and you can see here I'm just rolling them up. Now if yours is shaped where it's narrow on one side, wide on the other, start with the narrow end and roll it towards the wider end. Like you can see here, some of these from the pounding are just kind of funky looking, so do the best you can. It's not an exact science. It's just you just want to, you know, roll that spinach and the cheese up in there. And then you're going to seal it by, I use toothpicks. You can also use culinary twine, which is really good. If you're using toothpicks, you just have to remember to remove all the toothpicks before you serve it. By the way, you can also print out this recipe using the link down below. If you're a fan of Italian cooking or Italian food and want easy recipes, make sure to sign up for my newsletter as well and free ebooks below. Okay, so one thing I forgot was that I forgot to add in some olive oil. I just do a drizzle in the bottom of the pan. Not that these are going to stick because you'll see why later, but I do like to do that just for extra flavor. So I just kind of roll it on the bottom and and space the chicken breast out. So there we go. All the chicken breasts are in there with their toothpicks, and now we're going to put it in our preheated oven at 350 degrees. Now I'm using my Breville. I use this for so much of my cooking. I'll put a link down below if you want to check it out. But I don't do convection oven or anything like that. I just do straight baking for 350 at 350 for 30 minutes. Now, one thing to keep in mind is we're actually not going to cook it straight through for the 30 minutes. We're going to take it out halfway through at about 15 minutes. Okay, so at 15 minutes, we're going to take it out and we're going to add the pasta sauce on top. Now remember, the pasta sauce is pasta sauce. It's not tomato sauce. So it's already flavored with seasonings and stuff like that. At least it should be. So you want to make sure all the chicken breasts are covered, put it back in the oven, and finish cooking. Okay, so while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and cook up some pasta on the side. I'm just making spaghetti. You can do whatever you want. I would choose angel hair or spaghetti like I'm doing. It's going to take about 10-12 minutes, so that's perfect by the time our chicken will be ready. Okay, so it looks like this is done. I'm going to go ahead and use a thermometer just to check. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you have smaller rolls, you want to check those earlier because they'll probably cook faster than larger rolls, so you want even cooking. You don't want to overcook. So mine did overcook a little bit. I tend to always overcook my meat. I just don't know why. I'm just paranoid about it. But you're looking for a 165. And then, of course, when you take it out, it'll still continue to cook for a little bit. But this is still really good, and it's got that moisture from all the sauce. So that sauce right there, it's not going to go to waste. We're actually going to use it as part of our pasta. So here we go. We're plating it. And remember to remove those toothpicks. Look at all of that. Oh, that looks so delicious. This was really such an easy, wonderful weeknight meal. So I mentioned the pasta, so the pasta was done. So I just put it on the side. You could put the chicken right on top of the pasta. I'm just doing it on the side for whatever reason. But that sauce, I just put it right on top. I don't need a lot because ultimately I mix it with my cut up chicken and everything. And I serve it with a nice salad on the side. And it's absolutely delicious. So good. This is really, really good. This will impress your family, and it's so easy to make. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, man. Well, thanks so much for watching. Grazie e ciao. And for more recipes, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and the notification bell so that you can learn more easy, simple Italian recipes. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Ciao.